somebody's baby will wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and demand the moon, and we go up and attend to it." "What!" cried Alice in amazement. "You don't mean to say you give it the moon?" "Not exactly," said the Dormouse. "We just promise to give it. That's one of the strong points about municipal ownership. It's the easiest system to make promises under you ever knew. You can promise anything, and later on, if you don't make good, you can promise something better, and so on. It works very well in a great many places. But that isn't really what we go up to the house for. We go up to relieve the poor tired parents who have been working hard all day and are too weary to walk up and down the floor with the baby. We respond immediately to the call, grab up the baby, and walk the floor with him until he is quiet again. Once last winter a chap with 3 pairs of twins, 6 months, a year and a half, and 3 years old respectively, had to send for the patrol wagon. All 6 of 'em waked up and began to squall at once, and we sent 7 ossifers and a sergeant up to look after them. They had to parade around that house from 2 a.m. until 7:30 before those babies quit yelling." Just at this moment the Dormouse was interrupted in his story by a raggedly dressed old man on a pair of crutches, who begged an alms of him. "Only $1, sir," he asked piteously. "Only $1 to relieve a terrible case of distress." "Certainly, Simpkins," said the Dormouse kindly. Well, I'll be jiggered," he added, feeling through his pockets. "I must have left my money at home. Maybe this young lady can help you out. Miss Alice, permit me to introduce you to Simpkins. He's the most successful beggar in 19 counties." "Glad to meet you," said Alice, shaking hands with Simpkins. "You couldn't spare $1, could you, miss?" whined the beggar. "It will relieve a terrible case of distress, ma'am." "Why, yes," said Alice, suddenly remembering that she had a silver dollar in her pocket. "Here it is." And she handed it to Simpkins, who thanked her profusely. "How's business?" asked the Dormouse. "Fine," said Simpkins, executing a jig. "I've collected $800 since 11 o'clock this morning." Whereupon, forgetting his crutches, he made off up the street with the agility of an antelope. Alice gazed after him in wonder. I didn't suppose you had any beggars in Blunderland," said she. "He's the only one," replied the Dormouse. "He's the official beggar of the town. He gets $25,000 in 10th Deferred Reorganisation Certificates a year, which, if the certificates pay 10 cents on the dollar, as we hope, will turn out to be a good salary in the end." "But why does he beg? Who gets the money?" asked Alice. "The city," said the Dormouse. "Once in a while, when the printing plant gets clogged up with large orders of bonds for our various enterprises, the city has to get hold of a few dollars of real money, so they send Simpkins out for it. I believe he's out to day trying to raise the interest on the 16th mortgage extension bonds on the municipal cigarette plant purchased year before last. It's 10 months overdue, and the former owners have asked the Government to smoke up." "Oh," said Alice. "Is the printing plant clogged up?" "Unmercifully," said the Dormouse, "not to say teetotally. They're preparing their Christmas issues in magazine form, and that means a terrible lot of extra work. I don't believe, the way things look now, that the city will be able to print the money for last January's payroll until somewhere around the next 4th of July, and if that's the case, poor old Simpkins will either have to work overtime or get a half-dozen deputy assistant beggars to put the town in funds. I'm expecting to have the police put on that job at any minute." Alice was silent for a moment, and the Dormouse went on. "What do you think of the municipal ownership of the police idea?" he asked. "It's fine," said Alice. But I thought all cities owned their police force. A great many people think that, laughed the Dormouse, but it isn't so. It is in New York and Chicago. I heard my papa say so once, said Alice. Again the Dormouse laughed. Well, he said, I don't want to cast any asparagus on your father's intelligence, but he's wrong. The police may own New York and Chicago, but New York and Chicago don't own the police, not by a long shot. Who does then? Demanded Alice. The Lord only knows, laughed the Dormouse. Some people say John Doe, and other people say the man higher up. But which it is, or who either of them may be, I haven't the slightest idea. Maybe they belong to the Copper Trust. And then, with a sly wink at the little maid, the Dormouse turned over and went to sleep. End of chapter 4. Recording by Ruth Golding.